Hello, this is Michael Mack, and I am happy today to share a few thoughts with you about David Foster Wallace's piece in your COA primer. It's entitled Both Flesh and Somehow Light. It's from an article in 2006 entitled Federer as Religious Experience. It is hyperbolic, it would seem, but Wallace is here making an argument that there is something inexplicable about Federer, something that defies our normal understanding of things, defies the limitations that we mortals experience. He somehow rises above it, and in the way he plays tennis, we see something that is not just graceful, but something even like grace itself, something that transcends the natural order, that there is something almost angelic. Wallace wrote this back in September 2006, some time ago now. At the time that Wallace composed this, Roger Federer had been the world number one for over 2 years. He really did seem like the angelic being that David Foster Wallace describes. He really did seem untouchable. Things are different now. It has now been over 2 years since Roger Federer has won a major championship. He no longer seems to be this angelic being, and I wonder what David Foster Wallace would have to say at this point in time. Time does give us perspective on things. How should we think about Roger Federer's gifts at this point in time? Well, I think the contrasts are interesting with Rafa Nadal in particular. What we see with Federer is an intelligence that isn't just the ability to calculate. It's an intelligence that extends into his body. And I think this is a true intelligence. And in a way, it's not so much that he's transcendent, but that his powers of his skills, his mental skills, go all the way down to his toes. I mean, there's a seamlessness between mind and body with Roger Federer that, and at the same time a freedom from even thinking about yourself in terms of any kind of division between mind and body. There really is this sort of, maybe what David Foster Wallace is getting at is there does seem to be an integrity. There's another quality that we associate with angels. There's an integrity to Roger. It's not that he thinks about something and does it. It's the thought and the action are one and the same. With Rafael Nadal, you see his will power, you see his determination, and you see that he carries out what he determines to do. He does it with great excellence, but it doesn't have the same seamlessness, the same oneness that Roger's thought and action seem to have. Rafa Nadal has something that really does set him apart in a way that another piece could be written by Wallace if he were still alive about Rafa and his relentlessness, his raw power, his animal perfection. If Roger is something quasi-angelic, Rafa is something like the perfection of our animal nature. Rafa does not let up at any point, and in fact, what Rafa does today has put him on top. When Roger was winning, we tended to think that he had mastered all of the elements, and it's not until someone masters one of these other elements and wields it for victory over Roger that we realize what we thought was the complete game is in fact, something that, as excellent as it is still limited. One thing I would argue is that no one is perfect. And if there's a flaw in David Foster Wallace's essay. It is in suggesting that Federer is flawless. David Foster Wallace himself is a kind of genius, a genius writer. This piece is stylistically a virtuoso performance in much the same way that Federer's tennis game is a virtuoso performance. But there are flaws not only in Federer, there are flaws in David Foster Wallace and his writing. And it is pushing this hyperbole too far, I think. That the title of his piece, Federer as Religious Experience, well, either that's because Federer is something supernatural, or possibly because David Foster Wallace doesn't have a sense of what real transcendence is, or what a real religious experience might be. And this can only be hyperbolic.